Hi, Old Dog here, the Old Dog Farm. It's Saturday, August 18th. And, well, I got lots to talk about, so I'll try and keep it short, but you know me, I do like to talk. I realized a couple of things this week. I've been trying to do a garden update with you, just to show you how fast everything's growing in the garden. So, every once in a while, I film that using my phone. That's what I was doing. And then I get around to doing the vlog. But by the time I'm ready to put the garden update into the vlog, a few days has always gone by. And I go out and look at the garden, and it's so much further ahead than it was when I did the update that I think, well, I can't do that. I got to go out there and do it again. And then I don't. So I haven't really done a garden update for a while. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to put the vlog together, and then just before, at the end, I'm going to go out and do a garden update and include that at the end of the vlog so that you can see what my garden is doing, because I'm quite surprised by how many things are growing. So that's number one. Number two, I got my GoPro, and here it is right here. You can see it. It is an itty bitty little thing. And as you can see that I'm not using it right now to do this, right? To shoot me. This is my GoPro, it's not being used, so it's my phone that's doing this. And there's a reason for that. And unfortunately, it's not really a good reason. I've discovered that the sound quality on the GoPro is just not very good. I cannot get it to record nice sound. It has all kinds of, it stops recording, it has some noises in between. It just doesn't do a very good job of recording. And I looked it up, and indeed a lot of people are complaining about the sound quality on the GoPro. And I wish I had seen that before I went ahead and bought one. So it's sort of implying that a lot of people buy these GoPros for filming things that don't use their voices, like they're doing extreme sports and things like that, which makes sense. It'd be perfect for that. But for recording voice, it's not very good. So in this vlog, you'll see some things that are recorded with my phone and some things that are recorded with the GoPro. And I think you'll be able to tell the difference, because the ones with the GoPro, the sound's not very good. And I apologize for that, but I can't do anything about it. And I don't know. I'm working with the GoPro. I'm still learning about it. I've made a few adjustments, and there's all kinds of settings on it, way more than like on a phone. And I've made a few changes, and it is a little better, but it's still not great. So I'm going to continue to work with it, and I'm not going to take a run through. I'd like to show you all the neat things that it does, because it does do some pretty neat things. But I'll wait until I become a little bit more familiar with it, and then we'll do a little run through of this, and I'll show you all the features. So there will be lots coming up in this vlog, a lot of updates on various things, and I'm going to stop talking now and just get on with the vlog, and we'll see you at the end. Have a good time. This is Saturday, August 18th, and we had a good rain yesterday. Rained most of the day off and on, quite heavily at times. And today is overcast and beautiful. There's just a nice breeze blowing. It's nice and cool. I'm going to stay home, I think, and try and get a whole bunch of work done. I've got a lot of things on the go here. I may show you what I'm doing in a second. One of the projects that I've got on the go right now is this what I still call the bee balm garden, even though there's a little bee balm in it. And this is the garden with the beans and the carrots growing here, and beets and cabbage and beans or peas, I can't remember which, over on that side. And I want to put a fence around it, so I started doing that. As you can see, I've got this fence going around here, but it wasn't long enough, and the fence I had to go with it was the wrong type of fence. The holes in it were too big. It was completely different than this one. So I went out and bought a new fence. I thought it was the same thing that I was getting. It's hardware cloth. That's what it's called. I'm not sure why. And it's got nice little holes in it so that no animals like rabbits can get through and eat your garden stuff. The only difference between this fence and this fence is that this one is taller, which is probably okay. But what I have seen people do is, because I'm still concerned that like a rabbit could get in to the bottom here under this nice little hole here, or a beautiful hole, all the way there. So a rabbit could easily squeeze under there and get at my vegetables when they start coming up. And of course they could do that anywhere around the fence, and that's a problem. I have seen some people take the taller hardware cloth and bend this over so that it's flat, it's coming out this way, and then that would be at the bottom and stick out. If I get, and I thought I might try that. It would prevent anything from crawling underneath. So I thought I might try and do that. The other thing I've done in here, which I haven't shown you, is this section here. I rototilled last week, and then I took some, and I'm not sure what kind of seeds they are. I got them at the farm store last May, and I forgot to write down on the bag what kind of seeds they were, so I don't remember. But wheat or clover, buckwheat, I can't remember. If I knew my seeds better, I could tell you. Anyway, what I did was I broadcast seed over this area, and broadcasting seed just means to throw the seed over the area. I did that about a week ago, maybe not even that long, maybe 4 or 5 days ago, and now it's all sprouting. It's quite amazing. So this is all coming up really, really nicely. That will grow really quickly. It grows quite tall, and you don't harvest this. What you do is you let it grow until it reaches its maturity, and then you plow it all under, and that provides nourishment to the soil. It's called a cover crop. And when you're starting out with a new garden, which this is, it's a good idea to do a cover crop. And it's like adding fertilizer to the soil, but it's natural, completely natural, because you're just growing a wheat of some sort and then plowing it under, and that then it rots under there, and it takes all that nourishment and takes it back into the soil and provides I believe it's like nitrogen, phosphorus, and one other thing back into the soil. And fortunate so far with not having any predators come and try and eat anything. And I have not had any problem with bugs on my plants yet. I think it's partly because this is a new garden, and believe it or not, the bugs don't know it's here, because I've heard that when you get a garden first established, if it's in an area where you haven't had a garden, then you won't have too much problem with bugs. But they'll come, they'll find it, and once they know the garden is here, they'll come back next year, and there'll be more of them. They'll sort of call their friends, and they'll show up next year, and you're going to have a real problem, which is another reason to move your gardens around. So the bugs, they don't know where that garden went to next year. That's another problem. We shouldn't be talking about that now. That's another whole thing. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to start working on that. It's just about lunchtime, so I'm just going to do a little bit of work, go and have lunch, then I'm going to try and get out here again and see if I can get this fence done, unless it gets too hot. We'll see. So, trying to bend this hardware cloth, and I remember the YouTube video I watched where the guy had bent his hardware cloth. He didn't show how he did it. He just showed the end result. And so I was trying to bend this. I had this U-post down here. I was trying to bend it against that, and it really does not want, it bends, but it's really hard to get it to bend evenly so that it's all bending to the same spot. I think I'm starting to get frustrated, and when I do that, I think, okay, that's not going to work. I don't want to get frustrated, so I'm going to stop for a second, think about it, and I might go in and see if I can find something on YouTube. That's been my biggest helper so far. My assistant's here. Just arrived just in time for me to go back inside. So she's going to go and hide under the bug. What are you doing? Why are you hiding under there? Why are you hiding under the bug? Yeah, you're gonna fix it. You're gonna work on the bottom, get it all fixed up. Where are you? There. Maybe you just like the shade, do you? Yeah. Well, not much help to me under there. While we're here, there's the poor old bug. The fellow that was going to fix it for me, I heard, I didn't talk to him, but I heard through someone else, which is the way things go up here, that he didn't think he could do it, and that he had passed the information on to a friend of his who was going to get in touch with me. But I have yet to hear from that friend. So we'll just leave it for a bit. I do have a guy in Bancroft, the local town, who has worked on my bug before, mostly just to do oil changes and things like that. But I might ask him. I'm sure he knows somebody that will do it for me in Bancroft, so we get this thing back on the road. So after looking on YouTube, I couldn't find any specific reference to bending the fence the way I want to bend it. And I was feeling a bit down about that. There was some suggestion of putting 2x4s down and attaching them, one underneath, one on top, bending it that way. A, I didn't have 2x4s long enough. B, I didn't know how I was going to clamp it. There was another very expensive $400 machine you could get that bent the wire perfectly in 2 seconds. I'm going to spend $400. Anyway, I did a couple other things, came out and thought, well, I'm just going to have a try once more. I don't know, see where I get. And I found that if I just went along slowly, bending it a little at a time, I had kind of had to bend the bottom of it out, bend the top of it in, bend the bottom of it out, bend the top of it in, that I could get it to bend. And it only took me about 10 minutes, but then I'll show you. I bent it up again, and I think it might work. We'll see. Here's what it looks like now. It's all bent perfectly up, and well, not perfectly, but in about a 90-degree turn. That part that's sticking up will sit on the ground, and the other part will be the fence. That is my hope. So, good news is that the fence is up. Bad news is that it's still not long enough. I should have measured it. Didn't. And so I need more. It's got a big open gap over at that end. Big open gap here. My theory of bending the bottom, I think it's a good theory. Very good theory. And I think it'll work for some of it. The ground's so uneven though. I'm going to have to get down there and work this bent part down into the ground somehow. Or work it down to the ground and then maybe weigh it down with wood chips or something. I'm not sure what to do about that. But there are lots of places like here where there's a big gap right there. Anything could crawl under there. And there are a lot of places like that. The idea is a good idea, but if you're on level ground and grass, it would work really well. But we're not on level ground. We can't do anything about that. So it's certainly better than the fence over there, which has got huge gaps underneath the fence. Huge. So I got some work to do on this. Anyway, again, as I have said many times, this is all learning experience. It's my first time building a fence, and I'm learning a lot, and you learn from your mistakes, and the more mistakes I make, the more I learn. So if I come to do this again around another garden, I'm going to know a lot more than I did this time, and hopefully I'll get it right first time. Anyway, I feel pretty good about putting it up. I got it up, and it's pretty secure. Some of the posts, these U-posts, they are supposed to go down into the ground past this part here. I didn't know what that part was for, so I asked. And that part there is supposed to be in the ground, and that's what gives the post its stability, so that it doesn't wobble. And it's true. If you just get it down to the bottom of that, which is what I was doing, then the whole thing is not very secure. But once you get that bottom part, that wide part down into the ground, it's pretty secure. And the problem is in this soil is sometimes you can get down to the so far and then you hit a rock and you got to try a new spot. But there's one there. I got that one down as far as it's supposed to go. And that one's down as far as it's supposed to go. I think most of them are. That one is, and that one is. Now none of these, when I was doing my first fence here, I didn't know that. So none of these are down. I can see if I can get that down further. That would certainly help a lot. And help to bring the bottom of the fence down too. I ended up taking down the second fence here. That I'll show you the first fence I put up, and I have done the same thing to it. I bent the bottom in just a little bit, created an area at the bottom. All along there. It will stick out at the bottom and hopefully help things from getting from underneath. And I'm going to take my U-posts, reinstall them so that the brace at the bottom goes underground, and then try and put the fence back up. See what happens. I finished reinstalling this fence, and I'm reasonably happy with it. I did put a bend in the bottom, as you can see. There's a nice bend coming out, and it goes all the way across here and all the way down the other side. I think that's going to work really well. I had a brainwave when I was doing this, and that would be to stake this piece that's sticking out down to the ground with some stakes of some sort, either some like tent peg type things or some type of U-bolt that I can get from the hardware store. They will just keep that thing right down to the ground, and I could do that on this fence too, and just by clamping that right down to the ground all the way across, and that would solve that problem with the gaps very nicely. So tomorrow when I go to the hardware store, I will see what I can find. The other problem that I'm having is with the way I'm attaching the fence to the U-posts. This wire is incredibly difficult to work with. It's very stiff and very hard to move around, and I'm sure there's got to be something easier and better and more practical than that. So there's another thing I'm going to look for. Morning. This is Thursday morning, August 16th, halfway through the month. My assistant, Callie, say hello, Callie. Say hello. My assistant and I have a little story for you. I was going to completely vlog this morning because it was so fascinating to me, but it was just too much of a pain to get this camera. Maybe once I get my GoPro, it'd be fun to do. Anyway, story goes like this. I had my little pan of composted material that needs to go to the composter. I thought, well, I'll just take that outside, put it in the composter, and come back in. So out I went, can in hand, dumped the compost. And on the way back, I thought, oh yeah, that's just shit. I'm going to go look at that lock that my friend said could be installed differently. So I went to look at the lock and looked at it, and then thought, no, I don't think that one can work the way he's suggesting. So I texted him, and he was nice enough to text back and say he thought he had one like that, and he might see if he could find it that he didn't need. Anyway, then I thought I would just take a picture. I'd do a little vlog of that lock and show it to you, like what was up with it. And I will show you that after. So I thought, okay, well, I need to get the camera stand that I use. It's just so much easier if I'm holding that in my hand, not trying to hold the camera. So yeah, there's one. I thought, yeah, there's one in the ATV. So I went out the back to get the one from the ATV, because that's where I keep it at night, and it wasn't there. So then I started to get a little worried. Has that boy been around? I wonder if I left it up in the back yesterday. So up to the back to the upper garden, I was working up there yesterday, and lo and behold, there's the ATV sitting up there with the key in it. Yeah, the key in it, and my whippersnipper sitting in the trailer, all sitting out there just waiting for somebody to come along. Well, nobody did, fortunately. Anyway, drove the ATV down, got my camera stand out, took a little log of the shed, did that, came back, and then saw my basil sitting here. Well, I don't have that right here. I bought a little root thing with basil on it yesterday. It's got roots and it's got full of basil. And I saw that and I thought, I better get that in the ground. So anyway, I did that. And then when I did that, I saw some fencing that I'd bought yesterday when I was in Bancroft, just sitting out in the gravel here. And I thought, oh, that fencing, yeah, I better get that up to where it's supposed to go. So I'll put that in the trailer. Took that up to the garden I'm trying to fence in. And then when I got there, I realized, oh, I've got to take that. I had one fence installed that was too big and didn't work and it wasn't long enough, and I thought, I gotta uninstall that. So I thought, well, I'll just do that now. Why don't I just do that now? So that took about 20 minutes to get that thing installed, and then I decided I better roll it up and put it away. Well, it was hard to roll up, and then I needed something to tie it with, so I had to go in the house, get something to tie it with, and I found some rope, brought it out, but it was too long, and then I needed to cut it, but I didn't have anything to cut it with, so I had to go in the house, get the scissors, bring them out, cut the rope. And then I finally got it all tied up, and then I thought, oh my gosh, what time is it? It's already 9:30, and I just came out to bring the compost in. That's all I did. A little 2-minute, not even that, yeah, a 2-minute job. 1 minute to walk to the compost, put it in, 1 minute to walk back. And here I am out here for like an hour and a half. I came out at 8 o'clock, and here I am at whatever it is, 9:30. Sitting here, and I thought, well, you know what, maybe I should just get the camera and I should just vlog about this and just do a little story about it. Next time I'll see if I can do little shots of everything, because I think that would be kind of fun to do. We'll see. Caldy's gone off somewhere. I've decided to try dehydrating some tomatoes. It should end up with basically what you would call sun-dried tomatoes, but done in a dehydrator. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 trays here of very nice tomatoes. I wish they were mine, but they're not. I bought them at a local market, and they're really lovely tomatoes. I hope mine turn out that nicely. So I've just cut them in slices, and wash them and then cut them in slices and put them on the dehydrator, and I'm going to leave them there for 10 to about 10 hours, and we should end up with sun-dried tomatoes. We'll see. We'll come back and have a look at them when they're done. The sun-dried tomatoes are now done, and I've taken them out of their trays. This is what they look like. They still look like tomatoes, but they are brittle. Maybe you can see that. And I have a whole container of them here. So I think that's great. They took almost, not quite 24 hours, probably about 18 hours to get to this stage. So that's a lot of time to get to this. I might try them next week if I still have some tomatoes outside in the sun, and see if I can actually get sort of authentic sun-dried tomatoes. This is a rainy day and a day off for Callie. It's been raining since I got up this morning at about 5:30, and Callie was out for a few minutes and then came back in, and she's just been napping on the chair here since about 6:30 this morning. Yeah, haven't you? And she's a tired little pussycat today, right? You tired little pussycat today? Yes, you're a tired little pussycat today. Well, she's woken up for a bath anyway. That's the most movement I've seen of her all day. It's quite lovely outside. I got the door open, and a nice little cool breeze coming in through the door. It's just raining gently, so I'm not worried about the rain coming in. This is my phlox in full bloom. In August it comes out. Always looks beautiful. It's a nice August flower. And this is my black-eyed Susan garden. It's also very beautiful when it comes out. Black-eyed Susan doesn't attract as many bugs as the echinacea does, but it's still a beautiful little garden. I planted all those black-eyed Susan 2 years ago, and they have filled in very nicely to that whole garden. I like big swaths of the same flower. That's my favorite thing to see. I'm thinking I might move this phlox next year somewhere else, because I would like to use this raised bed, which is what you call the wooden box. I would like to use that raised bed for vegetables next year. So I need to look up when's a good time to move phlox, or how you do it, and then I need to figure out where I'm going to put it. I want to keep phlox because it's a lovely flower, and it's a nice August flower. You don't have a lot of flowers that flower in August, so it's nice to keep that around. So it's a little late, but I am starting to get tomatoes, and I've got these two big plants here, and there's a nice tomato there coming out, and there are more I can see getting ready to come out on these ones in the pots. There's at least one or two I have seen here. Here's one here coming out. I don't see any others. Oh, there's one there. And I don't know whether there's any on this one in this garden. I thought I saw one this morning. Yeah, I did. There's one here. Over here, these are the bush beans that I planted probably about 2 weeks ago now. Coming up great. A little basil in there that's been there for a long time. It's not doing much. But the bush beans are doing really, really well. And more bush beans over here. Coming up very nicely. Back here in a small echinacea garden, there are several tomato plants back here. I think I saw one tomato back here. These are my biggest and healthiest looking tomato plants, but they unfortunately don't seem to be growing any tomatoes yet, but perhaps they will still come. I can see they've all got flowers. So I think these were the last ones that I planted, and they have done, this is where they have done the best in terms of growing. I don't know why, I wish I did. So that is that garden. This is the so-called rose, bee balm garden, and with only a couple of bee balms in it. These are more bush beans and carrots coming up in between. So bush bean, bush bean, bush bean, bush bean with carrot, rows of carrots in between. And then over here are the beets. 2 rows of beets. They were just planted probably just about a week ago. And some bok choy type cabbage. And then another row of, I think this is peas right here. And here are the, this is the cover crop that I think I talked about here, and it's starting to come up very nicely. Whatever it is, we still don't know what kind of wheat that is, or grain I should say, probably not even a wheat. And this is the electric fence garden, or big echinacea garden, I guess you could call it. This is where I took out that big rock a couple of weeks ago. Again, I've got cover crop here growing, coming up nicely. Lots of tomatoes growing in here. Almost every plant has got tomatoes growing on it. So I'm quite happy about that. I didn't think they would ever get tomatoes. And these are all growing. Almost every single plant has got at least 1 or 2 tomatoes growing on it. And there's some getting quite big here and there. So finally they're getting tomatoes. Hopefully they will get to ripen. These are the potatoes here, potato plants. And I meant to do a little segment on my potato plants because I discovered when I came out here the other day that these things growing on my potatoes, and they look exactly like tomatoes. I was freaking out. I thought, how could that possibly be? But anyway, it turns out that potato plants do get fruit, and the fruit looks like a tomato. It's not. And the potatoes are happily growing under the ground. And the sign of that fruit is a sign that the potatoes are doing well under the ground. Got more potatoes up there. All across there, they're planted quite much later, so we'll see how they do. These are the first carrots I planted. These are the ones where I put in way too many seeds, and pretty soon I can thin those out. I said they're getting big enough. I think I could go in and pick individual plants out. Maybe give them another week or so. And then I can pick individual plants out so they're thinner. Up here, this is the berry garden. So that's a raspberry plant. Raspberry plant, or bush, I guess, raspberry bush. These were just planted in June. First year for them. They won't produce raspberries till next year. This one's going crazy. It's so tall, and it just keeps getting longer and longer. I've already staked it up twice. I'm going to have to find another way of getting it staked up. More carrots here, 2 rows of them. They seem to be doing okay. They're going to have to be thinned as well. And blueberry bush. I don't know whether it's doing well or not. It hasn't really grown, but it's still there. It's still healthy, with onions and garlic growing around it. And another blueberry bush here. And another one here. Blueberry bushes do not get blueberries for 3 years, so that's their first year. My lovely kale that I don't like, but that I did dry, and I got some powdered kale out of that about a week ago, and that's about it. Well, that's it for this week. Turned out to be quite a bit longer than I thought it was going to be, and there was still a lot that I didn't include. So I seem to have way too much to talk about. And that fence took up a long time, I realized that. I've already got tons of stuff for the next vlog. So I'm either going to have to cut back on what I'm filming or put out more vlogs. I don't know what to do. I do in the next vlog, I do want to take you for a ride on my ATV. I did get the camera, the GoPro attached to my ATV very stably. So I will be taking you for a ride on that through the woods. I know I'm going to do that. And I know this doesn't sound very exciting, but I'm going to be digging a couple holes for apple trees. But I'll be using the ATV to get out a rock and, well, I don't know, you're meeting all kinds of obstacles. So yeah, that's coming up in the next vlog, and I'm going to try and get that out soon because I just seem to have so much stuff. Can't believe how much I left out. Anyway, I guess that's it for today, and we'll see you next time. See you later. You got anything to say before we sign off for this week, Callie? Hey? Have you got anything to say? Is Pussycat got anything to say? What do you think? Are you too tired to do any kind of rollovers? Yeah, just a little paw lick, and that's about it. Hey? Oh, you're going to get up. What are you going to do? You're just going to shift spots? That's all you're going to do. You got your back to me now. That's not very friendly. No. Come on, Callie, you say goodbye for this week. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. That's a good girl. You say goodbye. There, that's a good girl. Yes, thank you.